Hello 3D printer friends, hello Bambulab users. I'm sitting here next to the P1S. This is the third iteration of the P1P in under a year, which is somewhat concerning. However, it is also somewhat exciting as it brings a lot of things to the table that people kind of wished the P1P had originally, mainly an enclosure. Originally, we had the P1P that came with the early bird kit that consisted of the camera, the LED light, and the auxiliary fan. All three of those items required you to install them yourself. The light and the fan actually required you to print things to install them. But before we do that, we have to attach our gigantic part cooling fan to our gigantic 3D printed part. Then, Bambu wisened up and smartly released a revision of the P1P that came with the camera, the LED, but no auxiliary fan. The auxiliary fan was optional. However, the camera and the LED were installed by Bambu themselves. You will see the new P1P LED light bar is pre-installed. This was a great move on the part of Bambu and made the P1P setup a much easier, faster, and smoother process. Now, just a few short months later, we have a new P1P, the P1S. The P1S comes with the LED, the camera, and this time the auxiliary fan, on top of other upgrades as well as a full enclosure. Obviously, all these other little upgrades such as fans, camera, light, auxiliary fan, cable chain, etc. are nice, but the selling point will be the enclosure. Let's go ahead and pop it out of the box, set it up, and find out what this new toy is all about. As typical of Bambulab P1P series printers, the box is really hefty and kindly marked with big, bright, red, fragile glass signs to keep your delivery guys from playing football with it, hopefully. The cardboard itself is thick and strong, however mine does have a dent in it. On the sides there are also handles so that people carrying your box can grab it, pick it up, and put it down properly, hopefully. Another small but important detail is the tape. Not all packing tape is created equally, and sometimes you'll get boxes where the tape is ripped, peeling off, and things like that are happening. The Bambulab tape is strong and not one single section of it has given way at all, keeping this box sealed the way the manufacturer intended it. I'm cutting the tape with Westcott Carbo titanium scissors. The blades on this thing will take your fingers off. When you unfold the flaps on the box, you will be greeted with a QR code that says scan to watch the unboxing tutorial. You won't need to do this since you're doing it right now with me. However, to utilize a QR code, you simply hold your camera to this code and a link will appear on the screen. You touch that link to open the link destination. Inside the box, you will notice Bambu's exceptional packaging. Some of you give me crap for having a problem with the way Bambu packs their accessories. However, they pack their printers at a very high level, and I'm very pleased with this. We're going to remove that piece of bubble. We're going to remove these top pieces of foam. And we are going to simply peel away these two folds of packing bag. Those of you who have watched the Bambu ads on the internet, they show them grabbing the printer and just picking it up out of the bag and dropping it on the table. We're going to go ahead and do that. I'm grabbing the two flaps from the bag with the P1S inside and lifting straight up. Success! Getting the P1S out of this bag could be a little bit of a challenge, but you can handle it. Simply rip open the top and fold the bag down and lift the printer up from on top of the bag, pushing the bag aside. If you are a seasoned Bambulab P1P user, you are in for a pleasant surprise with the new appearance of the P1S, as you will immediately be greeted by its beautiful enclosure and its glass top and its glass front door. Let's free it of those coverings. I am starting with the door, simply removing the tape. you'll notice a small flap on the inner portion of the door. This plastic protection is basically a bag or an envelope that's sealed in the same way a bubble envelope would be. With it open, you can now back this bag out. And there you have it, the P1P magnetic door. Here on the top, you are going to run into the same situation. We are again going to remove the tape. And we are gently going to lift the cover up. Be careful because it will come off. Again, this is basically a plastic bag. So you're going to separate the adhesive. Or just caveman it and rip it open. And then slide the bag off the cover. Placing the cover back on. And making sure it's actually in one piece. Mine sure is. Let's go ahead and remove the cover, placing it somewhere safe so we can start unpacking and setting up our new toy. I'm going to go ahead and start removing all the tape. Here's a piece of tape over your micro SD card. Be careful with the card. I noticed my card is actually loose, so go ahead and click it out and then click it back in. Take your foam off. Take your foam off. Take your box of parts out. Here you can see the new P1S cable chain assembly, pre-installed, included with the P1S. Reaching inside your machine, either with the front door or from the top, you can grab this foam right here, gently slide it upward, and remove it. It may catch on the bed. Please be careful. Here's some super dry. You might want to save this. Remove the other side. And you now have a clear visual on one of the other major upgrades of the P1S, which is their new golden PEI bed. Bambu has in fact told me that this bed has significant performance improvements over the original P1P bed. Behind this bed, you are going to see two pieces of foam, and under the bed, you are going to see two pieces of foam. Just like the P1P, we are going to leave those in place until we turn the printer on, at which point the bed will rise and we will remove that foam. For now, we'll focus our attention right here to the hot end, and we are going to free it from its zip ties and cardboard covering. Just reach in, clip the zip tie. Behind it is this little red thing. This is a warning that you have a belt right next to this zip tie, and there is a possibility of clipping the belt while removing the zip tie. Don't do that. Make sure you are on only the zip tie and clip the zip tie. Gently remove the zip tie. Both zip ties are off. Now we are going to free the hot end from the cardboard, and we are going to take our sweet time doing it. I like to rip the cardboard so that it opens up like this. And then you pull it up, and then be careful because of the new cable chain being in the way. We're just going to work that cardboard through the cable chain and toss it away, freeing up and exposing for the first time our beautiful Bambulab hot end cover. You will see the hot end cover has some green tape, so we're just going to go ahead and peel that green tape off. Now, for the first time, we can look at some of those included upgrades. The golden PEI bed, the pre-installed auxiliary fan, the pre-installed camera, and the pre-installed LED light bar. Those of you with keen eyes will notice that the auxiliary fan no longer uses the large stand that the previous P1P had us print and install underneath it. The new fan is now mounted to the enclosure door of the printer itself. Before we get carried away, don't forget, right here in the poop chute is a piece of foam. Just get your finger in there and just give it a slight little pull. And now your poop chute and nozzle cleaner are good to go. Shift your eyes over to the right and grab that piece of tape right there too. For now, we can put the cover back on or leave it off. Speaking of the cover, P1P owners will notice that the power cable and Bowden tube no longer protrude over the case and interfere with covers. It now comes through from inside the printer through this little connection right here. Some P1P owners were actually 3D printing their own and doing this modification. It's now part of the printer itself. Now we have our traditional box of toys. So let's pop it open. Again, the box is sealed with industrial strength tape, so you're gonna have to cut that open. Strong arming it or using your fingernail probably isn't gonna cut it. A tiny little spool of green PLA Basic. Very disappointing. The same pathetic screen from the P1P. The same spool holder as the P1P. The power cord. A piece of Bowden tube, a nozzle declogger, and a small mystery box. Inside the small mystery box is a little Allen key, an extra 0.4 nozzle, extruder screws, double-sided tape for the phone holder that is included on the memory card, spool holder screws, hot end clip and screws, nozzle cleaners, razor blade and double-sided tape for the scraper, also included on the memory card, another Allen key, thermal grease for the spare hot end, and wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packs of lubricant grease. What does Bambulab know about this new P1S that we don't? The P1S no longer comes with the new green Bambu 3D printer adhesive. I still can't help but feel this is acknowledgement that there was in fact adhesion issues with the original print bed, and those issues have been resolved with the new golden PEI bed. Hiding inside your P1S, all the way in the back, is one additional bell for you to discover. Filtering the air through these slots right here is your fancy new refillable carbon filter. Now it's time to install these toys and prepare the printer for testing. First thing we're going to do is install the screen. The screen comes taped in a little bag. Just slide it out. And there's a protective film on it. You can keep this film on it for a little bit if you'd like, or just peel it off right now. There's a clip right here, and there's a clip inside. It only fits one way. Match it up and clip it into place. I like to use my fingernail and just push on the plastic to lock it in. I don't think anything has changed, but I do feel like that was easier to connect than my P1P screens were. But then again, that could be all in my head. With the screen like this, we're gonna guide this wire into the orifice of the screen itself, line up these notches with the slots, and simply push left. Congratulations, your P1P now has a screen. Now we're going to pop this door open and we are going to unlock the print bed. And we are going to find 3 screws indicated by those little red arrows and unscrew them. Simply put the Allen key on the screw and turn it counterclockwise. There's another one in the back right there. It's tough to reach. Get your Allen key on that and unscrew it. There's one more on the other side. Again, indicated by the red arrow. Get your Allen key on it and remove it. Swing your printer around and look for this section right here. Clearly marked spool holder assembly holes. Oddly enough, one of those holes is occupied. We are going to remove it with our Allen key. With that removed, look for the bag that says for spool holder and take those 2 screws out. Take a wild guess what they're for. The spool holder goes like this. If you're not sure, it actually says top right there on the spool holder. I find your easiest way to do this is to pass your Allen key with the screw on it through the holder and hold it in place. Then start that first screw. Now, with that first screw firm enough to hold it in place, I'm going to put the second screw on the Allen key and pass it through the same way. And secure that one too. You now have a spool holder on the back of your P1P. Now with your shiny new P1S fully assembled, it's time to load the filament, bind it to the handy app, and run our first test print. Please do notice the initial packing foam under the bed is still in place. Plug your P1P in and install your filament. Unlike many other printer models, you will not have to switch your power to 110. It will already be set for you. You simply plug the printer in and that's it. To load up your filament, we're going to swing the printer around and grab the sample it came with, looking for and peeling off the tape, holding the filament end in place. When dealing with filaments, you never want to let go of this end because it can spring back, cross underneath itself and create a loop, and that loop will create a jam. If you can get this tape off, super. If not, simply clip it with your snippers. Have a look at your filament spool holder. Your filament spool simply goes over it and rests like this, with the filament coming over this way. We are going to take this filament, guide it into the Bowden tube, and simply push it until it stops. Those of you who own P1Ps will notice they have simplified this process. There's no longer a coupler here. This is a much leaner setup than the original P1P setup at the filament spool. And here you can see our fancy green filament has entered the printer, traveled through the Bowden tube, and entered the direct drive of our fancy P1S hot end. If you do not have the Bambu handy app installed on your device, now is the time to do it. Install that handy app on your phone and turn your printer on. Bambu would like that before use, you please make sure you have read the user manual carefully. We're going to say OK. We are going to say OK. We are going to tell it where we are. I am in North America. And if you do not have the Bambu Handy app on your phone already, simply open your camera and point it to that QR code and it will take you to download the Bambu Handy app. Now we are simply going to open our phone camera and point it at the QR code. A link will open and we're going to touch that link. That will take you to the download for the Bambu Handy app. If you already have the app, you can simply wait a moment and it will open the app for you. You then check the 2 boxes and choose Confirm to Bind. The screen is asking me to pair. I'm going to press OK to pair. Now I wait for the app to finish. The app will then prompt me for Wi-Fi. This is the Wi-Fi I will use with the printer. You'll be using 2G Wi-Fi. Type in your password and press bind. You will notice your machine went back to the opening screen. Don't be concerned, that's perfectly fine. Please confirm you have removed the 3 screws with the Allen key. We have done that. Finally, let's run the self-test routine to check the status of your printer. I'm going to press start. Please note the foam is still in your printer. And your app will download a G-code file and start to do its thing. If you'd like, you can open the door and you can check it out. The official instructions say to leave the foam until the testing is done. However, I like to go ahead and remove the foam gently right now. If you'd like, you can close the door, or you can leave the door open. Your self-test is complete, your printer is ready, enjoy printing. Something tells me this printer is going to have a firmware update. I'm going to press finish. You can either wait for this firmware update to appear, or you can scroll down. New firmware is available. Do you want to update now? It's as if I can predict the future. We are going to say okay to update. We are going to say okay to update again. OTA means over the air, so it's going to download and then install the firmware update for you. The firmware was successfully updated. Confirm. And now you will see your firmware represents the new number. You can simply press the back button and back out, and then return to your home screen where you'll notice it says ready to print. And there it is, the Bambulab P1S. The new enclosure makes it an absolute thing of beauty, whereas the P1P kind of looked like a skeleton of a printer with its beautiful glass front door and its lovely glass top lid. The P1P has transformed from the low-budget ugly duckling of the Bambu lineup to a complete and beautiful package that will stand out and finally look the part in your workshop. During printing, your P1P will automatically create a time-lapse. That time-lapse video is stored on this micro SD card. To remove it, push it down and release, then remove the card. Place this card into a card reader on your computer where you will find the video and time-lapse of your prints. I'd like to talk to you about memory cards. Memory cards are very important for the correct function of your 3D printers. Even on the web and app controlled Bambulab P1P, the micro SD card is extremely important as it is required for the printer to work. It also is required to record your video and beloved time-lapse content. We are not going to trust this content on a cheap, unbranded Chinese memory card. I am going to suggest replacing it immediately with a quality card of 32 gigabytes. I use this card right here. This is a SanDisk U3 high endurance micro USB card. The high endurance cards are meant to endure impact, extreme temperature, and constant read and write usage. Amazingly, in today's world, this incredible card costs about $8. Please, when buying on Amazon, watch who you are buying from. I will leave a link to this exact legitimate card in my description. To replace the card, simply take your finger and depress the memory card and then release. The card will push forward. You can then pinch and remove it. Install the new card, pins forward, by gently aligning it to the memory card slot, then using your finger to depress it till you hear the click. It will lock into place. Considering the price difference at the time of recording is $100, getting the P1S over the P1P is an absolute no-brainer. I do have concerns that the P1P was upgraded this drastically inside of 1 year. However, it does show that while some people dismiss specific competitors, such as Creality and their enclosed K1 series, Bambulab clearly does not and is taking competition very seriously, having swiftly upgraded the P1P to match features of the K1 series and likely features of other upcoming competitors, and more specifically, adding things that P1P owners wanted. It is very nice to see inside of a year the P1P go from a bare bones skeleton of a machine with accessories you needed to install yourself evolving into a machine with those accessories included, installed by the manufacturer, and then the entire printer reiterated into a fully enclosed unit with those accessories ready to roll day one in your print shop. You are on the 3D Rundown YouTube channel. I'm Greg Adventure, your instructor on 3drundown.com, and unboxing, setting up this beautiful Bambulab P1S printer was today's adventure.